Yes!
Now or Never has several different versions, each with its own purpose and context. While these variations have the same general melody, their compositions are all very distinct from one another. The goal of this video is to pick the very best version of Now or Never. First, we'll need to listen to each version. Second, I'll describe my likes and dislikes for each. Lastly, I'll rank them all based on those likes and dislikes. Since I've already wasted enough time getting to the point, let's start with the very first version, performed by the Splat Squad. The very first Splatoon came with a very fresh original version of Now or Never. This version may be the oldest, but it is not dated. The instrumentation is at its peak, and the build-up of the ending with all the instruments eventually coming together to play that final Lydian scale is incredible. Sorry for that, I just figured that any good Splatoon video needs bad puns in it. There are some problems with the original version. The singer sounds really quiet compared to the instruments, and they seem to disagree on the rhythm. Considering the Splatoon style, going with the singer's rhythm would have worked wonders. Regardless, there is still so much power behind this version, and it remains the most hype version for me, no matter the point deficit. Speaking of deficits, Splatoon 2 gave us a version of Now or Never that was unique from the first version at the very least. With a brand new band of singers, this version was bound to shake things up, and it did just that. It seems like everything I wanted to mention here had both good and bad parts to it. So first, let me talk about the part that I've already shown I didn't like, the new key. Listen to the two side by side. The first one sounds exciting and encouraging, but the second one sounds panicked and worried, at least in the beginning. While the rhythm agrees between the singers and instruments, now the instruments seem to only emphasize offbeats. Speaking of singers, the backup singers are all energetic and intense, and they all make the new key sound really good. But the soloist honestly hurts the song in all of his parts. He comes off as panicked rather than excited, and since most of the singing part is his solo, the whole song comes off the same way. In fact, the soloist is actually one of my least favorite singers in the series thus far. However, even though this version of Now or Never is the most conflicting for me, it is still so much fun to listen to. Despite their obvious appeal, neither of these versions were used for the Splatfests in their respective games. In fact, all of the usual battle music was replaced with songs created by the current hosts of Inkopolis News. As such, the music was specifically made to emphasize the party aspect of Splatfests, and the versions of Now or Never were no exception. While the Squid Sisters versus Off the Hook debate is probably deserving of its own video, the Squid Sisters definitely make their case for the best vocal performance of Now or Never. They just sing really well, without autotune I might add, and that bridge is just amazing. Okay, I'll stop. Also, the electronic beats fit very nicely alongside Ink Me Up. The key of the song may be different from the original version, but it works here because it helps with the nighttime party feel, and it complements the voices really well. However, one thing I'm unsure about is, again, the rhythm. On one hand, the singers and instruments agree this time, but on the other hand, they use the uniform rhythm instead of the offbeat one. However, this complaint is minuscule, and my only other gripe with this version is the buzz-like sound used in place to some of the lines. It's just annoying that the Squid Sisters have to be replaced for a few lines for no particular reason. Speaking of replacing the Squid Sisters, this one is really good too. Granted, it is in the same key as Wet Floor's version, but combined with the instrumentation, it feels like a climactic end to a great party. In fact, the instrumentation is the main reason that this version is so great, with the exception of the bridge. While that one instrument sounds great during the rest of the song, it's really overpowering during this one section. However, it takes very little away from the song as a whole. What takes away more from the song is the singers. Whether or not they use autotune for their other songs, they practically show it off here. While it does complement the instruments sometimes, it heavily contrasts the instruments at other times, and they even get cut off for some lines again, except for the first halves of those lines instead of the second. Still, this version is very enjoyable in its own way, just like every version of Now or Never. No wonder they remixed this song for Smash. It's so hard to make it awful. Right? Oh, this is awful. What is this synth? You're really trying to pass this off as a main instrument? Where's the guitar? Where's the singer? Where's the rhythm? Does this version do anything well? No, actually. It is in the same key as the original, but we've already established that the original key is not objectively the best one. It also adds a bit more to the song to help it make it loopable. But that little bit just doesn't fit well into the song at all. If I haven't made it clear at this point, the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate remix of Now or Never is the worst version of them all. Time to rank the 5 versions, or at least the top 4, because we've already established that the Smash Ultimate version is the worst. In 4th is Off the Hook's version. While it does sound like more of a party than the Squid Sisters version, it doesn't really excel at anything. The autotune heavily detracts from the song, and the bridge is ruined by an overpowering instrument. However, I would still hesitate to call this version bad, especially next to the Smash Ultimate one. In 3rd place is the Squid Sisters version. Even if it sounds less exciting, it's still more beautiful in a way. The nighttime feel combined with more genuine vocals really captured what made Splatfest so great. In 2nd place is the Wet Floor edition. While its ending is still great, and its backup singers help the song at its most emphatic points, the soloist in the majority of the song just doesn't pull his weight as a singer. So, in case you were in any doubt, the original version of Now or Never continues to reign as my personal favorite version of the song. Its issues are extremely minor, and it continues to hype me up like no other version has. But hey, maybe I'm just biased. After all, I played a ton of Splatoon 1 when I first got it, and I still go back to it from time to time. Maybe hearing it so much has caused hearing anything different to become jarring. In any case, I'm Taquano the Swordsman. Stay fresh!